Bad dreams, huh?
It seems so real.
Well, it is real. Sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The Archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight.
The Archdemon, is that the dragon?
I don't know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the Archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the Archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me, too.
Thank you, Alistar. I appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for. To deliver unpleasant news and witty one-liners. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on.
Okay, everyone, welcome to our camp. We'll be spending quite some time in here. In between each quest, I will tend to come here and talk to all the members of my group. Looks like we have a few quests here as well. So we'll go ahead and, well, let's just talk to everybody. We also gained one faction point with Alistar, so we'll talk to Alistar first.
What do you need?
Do you want to talk about Duncan?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
That doesn't mean I don't mourn his loss.
I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry.
There's no need to apologize.
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
What about the other Grey Wardens?
I don't know. I have no idea what the Grey Wardens do for them when they fall in battle. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just...
No, not really. Not since I went to the tower.
That must have felt a lot like when I got sent to the Chantry. You mages don't even get a say in the matter after all. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little.
Maybe I'll go to High Effort with you, when you go.
I'd like that. So would he, I think.
Alistar approves, +4. I'll talk to Poppy for a little bit.
Oh, why you little?
What?
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
Ooh, that was just a warning. He could have taken a hand off.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
You never ever get any rep with Poppy. He's always at 100% all the time. But talking to him like this enables you to, well, discover more about him, as it were. Especially, it's interesting, especially because he can't talk. While we're here, let's give a few gifts away. So let's go to Poppy first, and we'll give him this bone. There we go. Now let's talk about our resident prophetess, apparently, who the Maker's speaking to.
Yes?
Hey, Liliana, I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
This vision of yours...
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
You dreamed of the Blight.
I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, The ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was. A single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
The Chantry says the Maker has left us.
He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the Chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others tell me?
Believe what feels right to you, Liliana.
Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
Liliana approves, +4. I had the same attitude myself, so it's nice to hear nice to hear her say that. Alright, Sten. Look rather on guard.
Why are we stopping?
We're working together. I think I should get to know you.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
Are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
You said you were in the army.
I am.
Have you ever fought in the war?
I have always fought in war, human.
What do you mean by that?
My people have been at war since the moment we set foot in the Northern Islands.
Naturally, the natives didn't want to give up their land.
It is not the native humans we fight.
Who then?
The enemy is everywhere. The jungle itself, vipers, hunting cats. Even some of the flowers can kill the unwary. And always there is the Imperium and the Talvashoth.
What are the Talvashoth?
I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate.
True. Let's go.
As you wish.
Sten approves, +2. He is very difficult to talk to. I believe Sten wants to drown his problems in combat against a Darkspawn. Very much so. He doesn't see any point into doing anything else but what he's tasked to do, which is currently aiding me in my quest. I think that's what he's basically about. Morgan always keeps to herself all the way over here. Let's see how she's doing. Oh, that's right, she is our cook. Wow, that's a lot of blood vials, Morgan.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Did you grow up in the Kukari Wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
I'm curious. What's wrong with that?
Any number of cats could inform you of the answer to that question, but have it your way. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
But you kept going back to the wilds.
Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped, and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
Ha! That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Oh, the handshaking. Touching like a handshake.
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, I'm glad it worked out this way, at least.
Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Morgan approves, +6. Be very careful when you talk to her. If you ask her a personal question, if I remember correctly, there's no way out of that conversation without her hating whatever it was that you're going to ask her. It basically comes down to, why are you still with us? And she hates that question completely.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennick at your service once again. Now, before you say anything, I do recall that your business is private. But I saw your camp and couldn't help but stop. Is there anywhere safer to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Yeah, that sounds fine. What are you selling? What's his name again? Boden? Boden. No, it is Boden. What are you selling, Boden?
Anything, everything, but all of the finest quality. No cheap trinkets here. And my boy Sandal happens to be a bit of a hand with enchantments. Oh, yes. Sadly, it also makes us a target for bandits and the like. If there were spare hands to hire as guards, I would have done so long ago.
Let me see your wares, Boden.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Let's take a look and see what he's selling. And I apologize, everyone. It occurs to me that you probably don't want to see this on screen. I'll be doing most of the shopping off screen, but the first time I reach a merchant, I think I'd like to show you what he's got at least. So, as you see, he has Sylvan's Mercy, which is a pretty decent nature damage spell. I'm sorry, staff. It's tier 4 actually. Wow, that does more damage than our Blackened Heartwort staff, but I don't have the money for it. I would need a tiny bit more, but I don't do enough nature damage to warrant taking this. The increase in spell power would be nice, I suppose, but no, it's just too expensive. I wouldn't really benefit from the nature damage besides Living Bomb. Nature resistance is 5% is just okay, so I'm not really interested in that. The Vashiel Dragonbone Main Hand War Axe. That is an awesome weapon. It's not two-handed either, it's a one-handed weapon. It's also 131 gold, so we will probably never be able to afford this till the very end of the game. It does give us stamina regen. Wow, awesome. Critical backstab damage, nature damage, strength, and melee critical chance. This is awesome for Liliana, if ever she was to use an axe in melee combat. He's got a bunch of pretty good-looking other gear, too, here for armor. 20 mental resistance, the Conspirator's Foil, with 2 armor in it at 6 gold. That's pretty good. Oh, wow, this is a nice helm. An iron with +1 willpower, +1 constitution. He's actually selling Blood Dragon Plate, but with 38 strength, and we're not interested in purchasing that yet. Spirit Hands deals increased spirit damage. Angled Strikers, 5% critical backstab damage. Hey, this is actually really awesome. Oh, it's not critical chance, it's just an increase in damage by 5%. What is Liliana using? This is actually less armor, although she'd gain more critical damage. No, I'm not going to buy that. He's selling Blood Dragon Plate Gauntlets. Some good shoes for her. Wow, these are actually awesome for her. Unfortunately, I don't have the money for them. 10% chance to dodge attacks. That's actually really great. And tier 3 for 2 gold, 40 silver. I may buy that before I leave here. Silver Hammer's Tack Masters. These are good boots as well for Liliana with +2 dex on them. Oh wow, those are actually fantastic. I might buy those for her too. We had the Blood Dragon Plate. +2 Constitution Helmet. +1 Willpower, +10 Mental Resistance. Enchanter's Arming Cap. And a Torque for Poppy, which is effectively all of our money if I was to try to buy that. So no, we won't be buying that yet. He has a few trinkets. Let's look. Spell Ward's really good. Way too expensive. Parvalan Willstone. Sten mentioned this place. +2 Willpower. Dalish Pendant. Dalish Belt. Oh, wow. There's no reason not to buy this. Dwarven Merchant's Belt. I remember that this was not worth it, because the money gain is so slight, I've heard. +2 range critical chance. That's a decent belt, but I don't really have any... Aside from Liliana, I don't have anyone who would really benefit from that too much. Fire damage and cold damage. Okay. So, we're going to... Oh, wow. I definitely want to pick up this. So much we're going to buy it right now. The Dalish Hunter's Belt. We're going to give this probably to Alistar. What else is he selling? He's selling a few lesser health poultices. Normal health poultices, injury kits. He's selling a tome that gives 1 point on a talent and spell. A tome that gives... Looks like the same thing for a rogue or a warrior. He has a bunch of runes here. He teaches us how to become a ranger, how to become a Templar, and he has a backpack for sale as well, but for 7 gold, that's a little too much. We shouldn't need another backpack until some time has passed anyway. Looks like he's selling a ton of flasks. We'll take a few flasks with us. His prices are actually more expensive than the places that we're at Lothering. Looks like by 20% from what I can tell. We'll take 2 of these while we're here. And then with my leftover money, I think I will take the Imperial Weavers. And that will do. I myself will wear those boots. I'll lose +1 magic, but I'm going to gain slightly more armor and 10% chance to dodge attacks. Oh, unless Morrigan, would you benefit from these even in your shape-shifted forms, I wonder? You probably would, but I am taking you to the next place as well. Actually, no. You know what? I don't want her with me when we go to the circle. That would probably be a very bad idea. So we'll give these to me. These will be my boots for the foreseeable future. I'm going to hold on to my old boots because we have a chance to get another mage at some point in our group. I think maybe at the Circle Tower, in fact. Sten is going to get this helmet instead of... Oh! No, he won't. His current helmet actually has slightly more armor and no fatigue, so no. We'll hold on to the Thane helmet, though. Oh, no, you know what? We'll sell the Thane helmet. As for our belt, I think we'll take Sten and Alistar with us to the circle. Yeah, that sounds fine. We'll take Sten and Alistar with us to the circle. So we'll... Sten, Alistar, and Liliana, I suppose. So we'll give this to who? You're using +1 spirit resistance belts. We'll give it to Sten then.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me.
Let's see your wares, Bodin.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Okay, so let's sell this low-level ash bow. And let's sell our Thane helmet, which we won't need either. And that should do it. Now let's see what quest it is that his son has, Sandal.
Hello. The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Oathkeeper is the only item we have that has an enchantment slot, and it has just one. We can put in a +1 cold rune or a +2 electricity rune. We'll put in the +2 electricity. Your runes, it costs you nothing to do it. It's absolutely free, and if I remember correctly, even after you set a rune in it, you can replace it with a new rune, and you do not lose the old one. With this in mind, it's probably best to sell any runes you do not intend on using for this purpose. Now Alcer will do even more damage with his Oathkeeper. It was Oathkeeper, right? Not Oathbreaker. And this guy has a quest. Oh, wow. I think I know what this is. Hello?
You're a hard man to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy. Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins? Levy the trader?
I'm Galvin, and I've never heard of you.
Really? He never told you of old Levy?
Nope.
We've known each other for years. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled.
What promise did you make to him?
My family... well, past a bit checkered, to see. Nobles look at us with disdain. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arland banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles.
What happened next?
Hard to say. After King Arland died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride.
So what favor did you ask of Duncan?
I asked for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honor.
I've never heard of Soldier's Peak.
Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Arland's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak, and I found the way a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did, and I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honor.
Why didn't Duncan help you?
Darkspawn surfaced in southern Ferelden, and Duncan got plenty busy recruiting new wardens and meeting with good King Caelan. Duncan said he would help after the Battle of Ostagar. Said there might be useful things at the peak, but he never had the chance.
How will reclaiming the peak help the Wardens?
Soldier's Peak is strategic and symbolic importance. Duncan said that it would be worth it right there. He also hoped to recover lost Warden history and perhaps a few old relics. No one knows what's up there now.
What do you need me to do?
I can pick my way through the tunnels at the base of Soldier's Peak, but the place, well, they say it's haunted, and it'll be dangerous for certain. Will you think on it, at least?
Your family's faith will be rewarded. I'll help you.
1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Okay, so this is new to me. Last time I didn't purchase any DLC because I hate Day 1 DLC, and that's effectively what that was. But I do intend to do the quest since I have picked it up since then. So let's... I guess we're gonna stop kind of here right now. We've talked to everybody once. I'd like to... let's talk to everybody one more time, actually.
I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Oh, wow. I'd never feed you another human being.
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Very true, but still, you can tell he doesn't like it very much. Oh, nice, look at Alistar's weapon shimmering now. That's awesome looking. Alistar?
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
So you said this Arl Aemon raised you.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That's not what I remember you telling Flemeth.
Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Aemon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Huh. Why did he send you off to the Chantry?
Arl Aemon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
You were probably luckier than most orphans.
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Arl's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets.
Oh, wow.
I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
You were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Alistar approves, +1. Liliana?
Yes?
I like to talk.
Well, here I am.
I do like to talk, apparently. What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's... let's actually ask the first one instead. Sorry about that. What was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so?
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Liliana approves, +2. Sten's always tricky to talk to, but we'll give him another talk to now. Hello, Sten.
Yes.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
What was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
Not strong enough to defeat the Blight. Why would the Quarry care about the Blight?
Why do you?
Ferelden is my home.
So if this blight were in Orlais, it could consume the land with impunity. Don't strain yourself pondering that. I do not know why the Arishok sent us. He commands and I go.
Did you find the answer to his question?
A portion of it.
Oh, this is kind of a circular. I can ask him the same thing again. Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When are you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
Let's go.
As you wish.
Sten approves, +1. Oof. He also tends to have the most... When you get it wrong, he tends to have like -10. Sten disapproves. When you get it right, sometimes you get massive bonuses, but it tends to be what as you see. It does, so I might have gotten a few things wrong and right, as it were, in the conversation. And Morrigan, one more talk with you.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
You are very cute to ask so many questions.
I don't really want to flirt with her because I don't know how I feel about Morrigan. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Of course I don't. 'Tis no matter. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
Oh, you really had no trouble with them.
I am unsure. I was too young to understand, and perhaps 'twas bravado on Flemeth's part, or perhaps she was merely amused. I will never know. Flemeth would warn them, once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Surely more would have followed.
Sometimes. Eventually. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
This is tricky. So those men came out there to kill or arrest her as an apostate. I myself, being a member of the Circle, while I believe in the Circle's message that we could be a danger unless we control ourselves, she appears to have held herself out well without giving in to temptation of being, I guess, possessed. So I don't think she actually regrets hurting any of them who went to hurt her. She knows what an apostate is, or I know, so I don't need to ask her what that is. They did probably think she was dangerous with good reason. She probably did not think it was fun, but maybe she did. I don't want to say they got what they deserved. So I don't like any of these answers, basically. So I'm going to go with number 3. They probably thought you were dangerous, with good reason.
Is it true, then, that given enough time, the prisoner will learn to love the cell? The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
That's fine. So I myself prefer the Circle, but I'm fine with her about having her own beliefs. The circle is not quite what you picture.
No? I am not surprised you say such. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
Disproves, -8. Yep, she and I are not going to get along too well when it comes to magic. Okay, but let's give away a few gifts to make up for some of this stuff. So, Alistar, let's give him... I don't remember what he likes the most. I know he doesn't... I think he'll accept the silver bracelet. So let's give him this.
Is that for me? Really? Wow. Wow.
+5 to him. Liliana, you can have the bronze symbol of Andraste.
That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to say.
Morrigan, you can have this golden rope necklace.
I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed.
And these two I'm just going to hold on to. So Morgan gained +10, as did Liliana, and Alistar gained +5. So that means the bracelet was not meant for him. It was probably meant for someone else. And I think we're going to call it a session here. When we pick back up, I'm honestly still not sure where I want to go. We're going to have several... In fact, let's show you the choices and what I'll be mulling over. I probably should also save the game as well. So I'm just going to show you the options that we're going to have. Because we're going to have... Well, we have all the options, I suppose. Though I'm going to pick one of 3 of them. So let's walk out this way, and we'll get to see where we're able to go. Sure. So first off, we'd have to make a group to go with us. I'm not sure where I'm going yet.
Yes.
So we'll take Alistar.
Indeed.
Now, I'm not really going to leave, so I'm just doing this really quick to show you the options we have. Here we go. So we can go to Lake Kalha docks. Sitting in the shadows of the old Imperial Highway, these docks are now the only means to reach the tower. So this would allow us to access the Circle Tower by going here. We can go to Redcliffe Village, which will allow us to reach Redcliffe Castle, a fishing village on the shores of Lake Collinhad. So we can go here to see... We heard rumors already that the Circle mages are turning all into demons. So that sounds particularly bad. We can go here in order to go to Redcliffe Village and seek the help of Arl Aemon. We can return to Flemeth's hut if we really want to, but there's no real reason to do that. These locations are nearby. We can try to go into the Brazilian outskirts to talk to the Dalish elves. We have the Lake Collinhad... no, we already did that. The Frostback Mountains, a range of dramatic peaks that stretch across western Ferelden, forming a natural border with Orlais. This would be access to the dwarves, Orzammar. Soldier's Peak, which is something I unlocked. Atop a maze of abandoned mining tunnels lies the old Grey Warden base of Soldier's Peak. And we can also return to our camp. I thought there was a... Hold on a second. I thought I had that one DLC also access to Stone Prisoner, so I'm going to have to take a look and see what I need to do to activate that if I haven't. But I think I might have one other choice, so that... I thought I had it now. Maybe I get it after I do one of these places first. Okay, so my decision will probably be to either go to the Circle Tower or to go to Arl Aemon. I'm going to think about which one I want to do, actually, first. I think if I go to the tower, I'll bring Alistar... Lilia... maybe I might bring Morgan? It'd be Morgan, Sten, and Alistar. If I go to Redcliffe Castle, it would be Liliana, Alistar, and Morgan that I would bring if I go to Redcliffe Castle, which I think I just said in a different way. Alright everyone, with that, I'm going to go press some files. Thank you for watching. When we come back, I'll have made my decision. I will see you then.